Well, it seems as though I tried to pause it so that I could continue, but it's not working. So I will just continue by doing it all over again, shall I? Yes. The second one I wanted to prepare for you is Surat Al Fajr, which I had already started and only got halfway through. But then I don't even think I got halfway through. Let us begin again. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذ يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي هجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد والثمود الذين جابوا صخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثر فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت العذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقضى عليه رزقه فيقول ربي يهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جمعا كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجيء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له ذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لي حياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. So now Surat Al Fajr. Yes, you see we have plenty of room now because I'm just going to delete that other one that broke off halfway through. English translation, Surat Al Fajr, by the dawn, and by 10 nights. It says here in the 10 nights is interpreted usually as the first 10 nights of the month of Dhul Hijjah, which is coming up when we do the big Eid. And the even numbers and the odd, and the night when it passes. Is there in all that an oath for one of perception? Have you not considered how your Lord dealt with Ad, with Iram, who had lofty pillars, the likes of whom had never been created in the land? Ad and Iram are these tribes. And with Thamud, who carved out rocks in the valley. Doesn't say which valley. You know, all of these Ad with Thamud and Iram and Firawn and all of this, it's conjecture. Where are they really? This is all historical narrative, you can say. And I have some thoughts on that, but not now. We'll do that much later when we talk about who really is or was Pharaoh. It's not just one. Firawn are many tyrants who break up Tawhid deliberately. And with Pharaoh, but they make it here like it's a singular, but it's not. It's Firawn, as I told you, many tyrants who break up religions. And it could be just one, too. In Egypt, could it? Well, and with Pharaoh, owner of the stakes. Which stakes is that? The Lautad, the stakes where they tortured people. All of whom oppressed within the lands, and increased therein the corruption. So your Lord poured upon them a scourge of punishment. Indeed, your Lord is in observation. And as for man, when his Lord tries him and is generous to him and favors him, he says, my Lord has honored me. But when he tries him and restricts his provision, he says, my Lord has humiliated me. Not true. No, but you do not honor the orphan, and you do not encourage one another to feed the poor. And you consume inheritance, devouring it altogether. And you love wealth with immense love. No, when the earth has been leveled, pounded, and crushed, and your Lord has come and the angels rank upon rank, and brought that day is hell. That day man will remember. But how to him will be the remembrance? He will say, oh, I wished I had went ahead for my life, and meaning sent forward some good deeds for an everlasting life. And so on that day, none will punish as his punishment, and none will bind as his binding. And you know, I don't like to say when they put in parentheses, because Allah says, so on that day, none will punish as his punishment. And they put as severely. And none will bind as his binding. And they write as severely. O reassured soul, return to your Lord, well pleased and pleasing, and enter among my righteous servants and enter my paradise. So you see, the theme here is the same theme as it was in the preceding Surah Al-Balad, saying you do not honor the orphan and you do not encourage one another to feed the poor. You consume the inheritance, devouring it, and you love wealth with immense love. So once again, this reminded me of how Facebook and YouTube are filled with charity being given freely in the open arena. In things like Walmart, supermarkets, drugstores, mini-marts, parking lots, by the roadside, to the poor. Without asking who are you or what do you believe, just giving a good word, saying, hey buddy, how you doing today? Looks like you could use some food. How about we go and get you some food? That's often what is given. Not money, because we know a lot of these people spend it on drugs. So the kind person will take him and buy him food, Or he will say, you look like you could use some new shoes. And then he will take him. Sometimes he won't take him. He'll leave him and he'll bring him back the shoes. But what I'm trying to point up is how Muslim parents, and I know most of them coming from abroad, and sometimes everything abroad is forbidden. If you dare to do anything outside the administrative arena where everything is orchestrated, dare I say? Yes, of course I dare say. I'm almost 80 years old. I'm going to give you an example of this because it's the third day of Eid and I want the reward. And I know as long as I don't slander and lie, I'm clarifying. That's what Allah has ordered me to do. That's why I'm here, isn't it? Why am I still here? Why am I not back in Egypt? Well, you know all the reasons for that. Mainly, Allah owns the earth and skies, but you know the tickets have doubled. The airspace is, they say, dangerous. I don't know. Nothing's dangerous with Allah. However, I think I'm going to stay here a while longer to do something like this. And I'm talking to parents. I'm asking you to teach your children, with you by their side, to give some charity. And don't be afraid, because Allah would love that deed. Now, something happened to me when I was in Egypt, and I'm going to say it out, and I think it's useful, and anyone who's lived in the Middle East will understand. I think so. I used to go to the masajid all the time and go to the Mahad of Quran, and everywhere I'd live, I'd make sure I knew where the Muslims were, especially the Muslim women who taught Quran. And I would love to be with them because I didn't know anything and I wanted to learn. And I did. MashaAllah. My Egyptian sisters helped me out a lot. So one particular day, I had moved to a new area, and I noticed when I went into the Friday prayer, I had been once before. And I had met a nice British revert there, so I was hoping to meet her again this particular Friday. But on my way in, I noticed that in front of the masjid, it was filled with trash everywhere. People had thrown papers and whatever. And it was a lovely masjid, but the surroundings were messy, very messy. So after the Friday prayer was over, the khutbah and so forth, and I saw the friend that I wanted to see, and I was sitting there with some Egyptian sisters, and I said, sisters, let's go out and pick up around the masjid. It looks very messy, and there's a lot of trash out there. And they furtively glanced at one another like, what's wrong with her? I said, yeah, let's do it now. If we all do it together, it'll take a couple of bags and we'll have it done in 15 minutes. They said, no, we can't do that. And I said, what do you mean you can't do that? Why? Who's going to stop us? Once again, they glanced at each other and they said, well, that's not our job. I said, yeah, but we're doing it as, we don't want money. We're doing it as a charity. And I feel ashamed when I see in front of the masjid there's a lot of trash. They said, no, we're not allowed to do something like that. And then I paused and I reflected and I thought, here we go again. Restrictions. This is not your assigned duty by those who assign duties. And there is no independent initiative because that's squelched. Then I thought back on a very famous, in another area, which was more of a lower class area. This one I just told you about is middle. But I had visited a very famous masjid, which was very well known, and in a poor area, but the sheikh was extremely famous. And I remember my friend took me, and she knew him through her husband because her husband was a sheikh in Al-Azhar, but he had passed away. And he was blind, and also was this sheikh blind. and a huge masjid, like 5 floors. And when I ever arrived at it first time, I could not believe my eyes. Right next door to the masjid, actually touching the masjid side, was a rubbish dump, a big one, a pile. And I said to her, look at this. Look at this, hanging on to the side of this gigantic masjid with this famous sheikh. This is terrible. This is horrible. And of course, for me, I was so astounded and shocked and angry because I'm American and I came from Christianity, where every single church's grounds were pristinely manicured. And as we walked up the stairs, many flights, I said to her, do you think it's because he's blind and he's not aware? We should tell him what's going on outside his masjid. I can tell you that was probably 20 years ago. But you see, those 2 memories came to me right now, today, as I was making a review of Juz Amma, and I thought about all of the past 2 days when the internet is flooded with lies about Muslims, slander, and photo ops of Christians giving charity. And I don't know, were they Christians? Well, they were white Americans. I don't know. They certainly weren't Muslims and Buddhists and Hindus and so forth. No, they were just your baseline American helping a transient or a poor person in the street. So that's why I thought, I think I'll do something different tonight for my viewers. Because someone had told me a few weeks ago, you have to review Juz Amma because the parents have to have that with their children, because every Muslim child, when they start out in memorization, they start out with Juz Amma. And the parents probably don't know enough to help them. And she gave me the idea that I should do Juz Amma and do some extra explanation and recitation and help out these moms who have so much responsibility. Notice I said moms, along with everything else they do, cooking and cleaning and usually working. I did not say dads, did I? Because they don't. Now is not the time for criticism. Now is the time, I believe, that we must look in the mirror and take a long, hard look at what it is we could do that's free or very little cost to ourselves, and try to do more to change the public image of Muslims. I'm in Florida, and you can view Florida as, I love Florida because it's beautiful, and it has beautiful oceans, which I never go to because usually a lot of them have really bad, nearly naked people there. But the palm trees and, just the air here, it's Florida, it's beautiful. But it's also the hometown of President Donald Trump. So now Florida is getting a very bad rap. We don't know what's going to happen here. So we should do what? Concentrate on ourselves and our families and those we're responsible for, and do what we can with whatever resources Allah has given us, even if it's only $1, as we walk by a meskina da matraba, and you can find them everywhere. It means a poor person who's dirty and dusty and not working, and kind of like you might say, may you say, I don't want to use words like this. Who knows if they're on drugs? Some of them are mentally ill. Some of them just don't know much about anything at all. But if you could just go in a parking lot or somewhere And of course, you be with the younger children. And offer some charity. And do it for Allah. And do it to set an example for your younger generations coming up. That it doesn't always have to be the other people doing the charity. We can do it. And inshallah, we will do it. And I will do the rest of Juz al-Amma. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.